Hi everyone, welcome back. So, I've jumped ahead a little bit, that to say the least. Everything has droppers in. I've even gone as far as, in the last video I was just showing what I was planning. I've actually wired all the droppers, the frogs, glued everything down, and it's now set. There's a little bit of cosmetic work that I need to do because some of the glue has actually dried white instead of clear, but that's not the end of the universe. I've already powered up each section, made sure that something runs on it, made sure that everything is isolated where it needs to be isolated. So today's mission is to get it temporarily wired up. So we're going to move it over to the workbench. And I'll walk through how I'm planning on doing that, go through my thoughts of how I want to set up the finalised wiring, and then we're going to wire up the two servos, get them set up, get them programmed, and basically talk for a bit. So let's head on over to the workbench. Okay, so obviously I'm not going to stay down here, but I want to preface this with, so I am running the layout on a DIY DCC-EX command station, so that's an Arduino Mega. I have a screw terminal shield that I'm probably going to take off for this build, since I don't plan on having this full of sensors and things like that. This is going to be a bare bones build, and then it obviously has a motor shield, and I've got a Wi-Fi chip here as well. This will run from barrel connectors to eventually a bus. So I want to have a bus go along the backboard, or probably this board that I'll put in the back here. That will be just your standard bus cable, and then that will where these will all eventually tie into. As you can see, I've made these wires basically as long as half the board, so that I have a lot of wiggle room to play with when I get around to fully wiring it up. What we're going to do now is we're going to start from left to right of the board, and we're going to wire it up. So let me get in my chair and I'll get you a bit of a closer view. I'll stop waffling on. And essentially, so I've been wanting to use Wago connectors for a while now, and I finally bit the bullet and picked up a pack of 25 for about 10 euros, might have been €9.30 or something like that. And the idea is I want to use these to basically wire everything up temporarily. So it's simply a case of, we're going to start with the black, and we're going to just simply start connecting wires up. And what I've already done is I've already created some connector cables to go between the sections, and those will act as the, let's say, the bus, which I'm going to keep in the middle. So each section will have a black wire dropper that will be able to plug into one side, and then the middle will move between the middle of the other Wago connectors. So for example, this one here is being classed as a bus, so this one is going to go into this one here. I need to try and remember to keep things in frame. So you get the idea. So I'm going to quickly go ahead and sort that out. And it's as simple as that. So all the wires are now connected. What we're going to do quickly before we move on to dealing with the frogs and the servos is we are going to flip the board. So flip the board onto its side here. Okay, so with all of these wired in at the bottom, we are going to pick up a tool that I think every modeler should have, quite honestly. That is a multimeter. And what we're going to do now is we're going to check the continuity between each of the rails to make sure that there's no resistance, and basically everything is electrically isolated between each of the colors, and everything that should be the same should be the same. So the prime example of this is each side of this rail shouldn't make a sound, and then it should recognize when you touch together. So I've stuck to a black to the back, so if I touch all of the back rails, they should all sync, which is fine. This frog is also dead at the moment because it's not wired in, but the point blade is fine. Same on this one, and same with the dead frog. Now, we also need to check the opposite ends of the rail, so and by the looks of things we have electrical isolation across the ground and the black wire and the red wire, which is exactly what we want. So multimeters, pick them up, they're useful stuff. Okay, so I found we're going to now sort out the servos, and I found an interesting, a very simple to follow diagram. So I'm using a bog standard micro switch. So this is the setup that I have. It's a 3D printed mount with a 9G micro servo with a piece of brass rod as acting with a fulcrum and a standard micro switch. And essentially what we're trying to do is we have three tines here, 1, 2, and 3, and that 1, 2, and 3 mean the common connector normally open and normally closed. And what we want to do is the frog wire needs to go on the common connector, and then the red feed needs to go on the normally open, and the black feed needs to go on the normally closed. So what I have done here already is set up these feeder wires, and these are automatically going to take the power not from the droppers that are going to the droppers that are going to the bus, or the imaginary bus. These are going to they're going to take it from the bus rather than the wires that are going there themselves. In the previous layout I wired these to here and then had separate wires coming out from there. Decided not to do that this time because I don't want the headache. So essentially what we're going to do, and there's a reason that I made these things really long, is going to unhook one side here, pop the red in that one, and then unhook this one here, and pop the black in that one. So now what that is now providing connectivity to the micro switch. We are going to pop that back on its side, get our multimeter again, because with the points thrown we should be able to get some sort of connection on So we're going to check this side, nothing. So we can see that right now with the point blades thrown, the frog is set to the black wire, which is fantastic. I'm not going to manually throw the points because it will break the servo, but what we are going to do is we are going to jump onto the computer, and we're going to jump onto the application EX Toolbox, and we're going to adjust the servos and get that programmed. So let's sort that now. Okay, let's try now. So we're down on the track, got you pointing at the servo, and we're just going to select our locomotive and just make sure. There we go. Bit of a connection issue, but the Bachmann pannier is moving, and it needs cleaning, but the pannier is moving, which is what we want. Also needs a service by the sounds of things. And as you can see, it can get straight over that set of points there. That's great. So, power is being fed. What we are going to check is the servo itself. So if I go to the turnout here and throw, you can see that that side moves fine, but the settings that I have predefined don't throw it quite well. So we need to go and change these. To be able to do that, we're going into an app called EX Toolbox, which talks directly to the CS and allows us to do some minute changes to test what positions our servos need to be in to be able to set. So, okay, so we're back at the layout now. And I'm just going to reconnect because everything has cycled. So when you upload a new sketch, it cycles the system. So turns it off, turns it back on again to refresh everything. And I'm just going to set up with a fresh instance of engine drive. So we're connected, and we're going to turn on the track power. I can confirm I can see the track power, and we're going to go to turnouts. We have turnout 1 is set as closed, and if we now tag that from closed and open, it changes. Now the ultimate test here is to make sure that the polarity has actually changed. So we're going to set this to closed, take our pannier, and we're going to send it backwards at speed step 20, 25, and get that over the turnout just to make sure that the polarity has swapped there. That looks good on that side. Get that sent back. Get that sent back. Then we'll go ahead and change the turnout and then send our pannier back. Fantastic. And then it should stop on the next frog because it's not powered correctly. So there we are, fantastic. So 1 down, 1 to go. So let's flip the board back over and we'll get the next one set up and get that ready to be functioning as well. So we've come to the end of this video, and I'm recording this a few days after the last few clips. And while the track is in place, the servos are in and they move, and I've been moving bits around, testing with some wagon movements and some loco movements. We developed a fault that I can't really fix, so I have to completely change it. So this is one of the dangers of using second-hand turnouts or second-hand track in general. So the frog on this turnout here, I believe, has become completely disconnected and desoldered underneath. The wire is still there because one
this one rail is still live and changes polarity when the switch is thrown, but the rest of it is just completely dead. So I've ordered a new one. It's on the way, but I can't make any more progress on this layout until that arrives, and that could be over a week at the time of recording, and at least a few days by the time you see this video. So we're going to take a hiatus on this for the next week, maybe 2, depending on how long it takes. But in the meantime, I have another HM7000 decoder to install on a friend's locomotive. Not going to tell you what locomotive, you're going to have to wait to find out next week, as of you seeing this video. And I'm going to do a secondary video, but the primary video will be on some CV changes and little nuances and things on HM7000, because that seems to be one of my most popular videos. So I'm going to start bringing back some HM7000 content as well back to the channel, and we'll see how it goes. I've got 2 installs to do, but I'm only going to show one in great detail. The other one will be like a tidbit or something. Then I finally have the parts and the motivation to fix my channel's mascot, the Hellion 1366, which is now missing a buffer. So we're also going to mix in a series of getting this the glory that it deserves in conjunction with the layout build. So keep an eye out for that coming out very, very soon as well. That's also waiting on the same package that's got this. So anyway, thank you very much for watching. Pleasure as always, and thank you for the support that I've got on the first 2 videos of this new build series. Hopefully many more to come, and I'll see you all next time. Have a good one.